Hello everyone and welcome to USP dissolution method of acetaminophen 500 milligrams tablet experiment. This is the practical part. Always clean thoroughly all equipment, tools and working area before and after working. And always remember that many of these steps should be done parallel. First, use a sponge and a liquid detergent together with distilled water to clean the puddles and the vessels of the dissolution tester. Two vessels and two puddles per group. Again, you need to clean 2 puddles and 2 vessels for each group. After doing so, turn on the dissolution apparatus and its heater to allow the warming up of the water bath and prepare the dissolution medium phosphate buffer pH 5.8. To prepare phosphate buffer pH 5.8 solution, you will need to prepare 2 solutions. Solution 1. To prepare solution 1, weigh accurately 20.42 grams of monobasic potassium phosphate KH2PO4. Again, the first solution is composed of 20.42 grams of monobasic potassium phosphate. Weigh the amount accurately and place it in 2 liters volumetric flask. Adjust enough double distilled water to completely dissolve the powder. Then complete the volume up to the 2 liter mark using double distilled water. To prepare solution 2, weigh accurately 0.43 grams of sodium hydroxide NaOH and place it in 1 liter volumetric flask. Adjust enough double distilled water to completely dissolve the 0.43 grams of sodium hydroxide. Then complete the volume up to the 1 liter mark using double distilled water. You better use a dropper to complete the last 2 to 3 ml to avoid exceeding the volumetric flask's marks. Transfer solution 1 and solution 2 to a 3 liter Erlenmeyer flask. The final volume will be 3 liters. Then mix well. Now, adjust the pH of the solution to achieve pH 5.8 plus minus 0.1. If the pH of the resultant solution value were more than 5.8, use phosphoric acid or concentrated HCl hydrochloric acid to lower it. If the pH value of the resultant solution were less than 5.8, then use concentrated sodium hydroxide solution to increase it. After preparing the medium phosphate buffer pH 5.8, in each of the cleaned vessels, place 900 ml using a measuring cylinder of the medium. 900 ml of the medium using measuring cylinder. It's important to remember that the vessel should be covered immediately after placing the medium to avoid evaporation of the medium. Remember that we are dealing or using aqueous-based disintegration and dissolution medium, and remember that water can evaporate at any temperature, then will for sure affect the concentration of the measured samples. Wait a few minutes to achieve temperature equilibrium and to reach 37 degrees Celsius. Adjust the dissolution tester parameters, all parameters, to reach 37 degrees Celsius, 50 RPM, and dissolution time 30 minutes. Now, place one tablet of the tested brand in each vessel. Only 2 vessels will be used as we mentioned earlier for each group, and immediately start timing. Commence timing with placing the tablets in the vessels simultaneously, and always keep the vessels closed. Meanwhile, you need to prepare your calibration curve. To construct the calibration curve, first prepare the stock solution, or known as standard stock solution. This is prepared as 0.05 gram percent or 50 milligram percent weight per volume of acetaminophen in phosphate buffer pH 5.8. This is prepared by placing 50 milligrams of acetaminophen in 100 ml volumetric flask. Dissolve using few mLs, 10 to 20 mL of the solvent phosphate buffer pH 5.8. After complete solubilization of acetaminophen, complete the volume in the 100 ml volumetric flask using the medium up to the 100 ml mark. You may need to use a funnel to place the 50 milligrams in the 100 ml volumetric flask. Please always use a dropper to complete the last few mLs in the volumetric flask using the solvent. Mix well. Here is the stock solution is ready. Now, withdraw separately 1, 2, 3 and 4 mLs from the stock solution using volumetric pipettes, suitable volumetric pipettes, and place each in a separate 100 ml volumetric flask. Then complete the volume up to the 100 ml mark with phosphate buffer pH 5.8. These are the 4 standard solutions that we will measure their absorbances. Keep in mind that standard solutions are solutions of known concentrations that we will measure their absorbances to find out the relationship between absorbance and concentration of the substance of interest in the linear range, and we will use this relation to calculate the concentrations of our samples using their absorbances. Remember to clean all used tools, volumetric flasks, volumetric pipettes, and beakers we are using to transfer the medium, as well as the used funnels and the droppers. Then the plotted calibration curve will be used to calculate the corresponding concentrations of the measured absorbances values of our samples. For the measured absorbances values of our samples, here we will use UV spectrophotometric analysis to measure the absorbances of the standard solutions. And in UV spectrophotometric analysis, we will need the blank. The blank is by definition everything in the sample but the substance of interest. In our case, our solutions contain phosphate buffer pH 5.8 and acetaminophen. Then the blank should be the medium phosphate buffer pH 5.8. Also, we will need the lambda of measurement, which is in most cases the lambda of maximum absorption or absorbance for the substance of interest, which is acetaminophen. And now the time to measure the standard solutions absorbances. First, clean the cuvette of the UV spectrophotometer thoroughly using first distilled water several times, then the phosphate buffer pH 5.8, our solvent, several times, then fill it with the medium or the blank or phosphate buffer pH 5.8, all the same, and place it in the very correct position with the transparent surfaces toward the beam of the UV spectrophotometer. After doing so, adjust the lambda using set nanometer or go to lambda button, then measure the blank via pressing the measure the blank or 0 button. It depends on your UV spectrophotometer instrument. Then start measuring the standard solutions absorbances. Start with the solution with the lowest concentration. You will only need to fill the cuvette with the target solution and read the absorbance value. Also, meanwhile waiting the 30 minutes to elapse, prepare the sampling tools. These are 2 Erlenmeyer flasks, 2 funnels, 2 filter papers, and with each filter paper in each assembly using 3 drops of the phosphate buffer pH 5.8. discard the excess. This is gravity filtration. After 30 minutes elapsed, the dissolution tester will turn off. Withdraw 5 ml sample from each vessel using a 5 ml volumetric pipette. Use 2 different volumetric pipettes, one for each sample. The sampling position should be from the middle third vertically and midpoint between the shaft of the paddle and the wall of the vessel horizontally. Again, the correct sampling position is the middle third of the medium vertically and horizontally. Try to hit the midpoint between the shaft of the paddle and the wall of the vessel. Filter each sample to get rid of any undissolved particles that may present in the sample and will interfere with analysis. Always discard the first few droplets of the filtrate. This is done to avoid low concentration of the first portion, since upon filtration, part of the sample in the first portion will be absorbed in between and on the filter paper fibers. Again, to avoid lower concentration than expected sample concentration or the real sample concentration, we need to discard the first portion. Now, dilute each sample by withdrawing 1 ml using volumetric pipette from each filtrate separately and placing the 1 ml in a clean 50 ml volumetric flask, again separately for each sample. Then, complete the volume up to the 50 ml mark using phosphate buffer pH 5.8. This dilution step is done to avoid absorbance values higher than 1.2 and to guarantee samples absorbances within the linear absorbance range, which is 0.2 to 1.2. Keep in mind that the volume should be completed on a flat surface and the final few mLs should be completed using a dropper. Read the absorbance of the diluted sample solutions at lambda equal 243 nanometer using the medium phosphate buffer pH 5.8 as a blank, as we did with the standard solutions. Special thanks to Mr. Hamid Al-Tahir, the lab technician, and thank you for watching.